The task is still there. It has been waiting for days. You will begin tomorrow. You told yourself that yesterday as well. It is not that you do not care. Somehow, you simply cannot make yourself start. The day fills with 100 small things, and the one thing stays untouched. You call it laziness. You call it a broken will. But you are not broken, and you are not weak. You are running a very old rule, written long before deadlines existed. A rule that once kept your ancestors alive. To understand why you wait, you have to go back to a world that could not. For almost all of your history, tomorrow was never promised. A sickness, a predator, a hard frost. Any day could be the last. The mind learned to trust one thing above all others. The sure thing now? Tomorrow's promise was a shadow. Today's bread was real. A meal in your grasp today was worth more than a feast that might never come. Rest taken now saved the strength you would need before nightfall. Future was a fog. The present was solid ground. You could stand on now. You could never stand on later. So your brain built a quiet scale and weighted it toward the present. The nearer a reward, the larger it looms. The further away, the smaller it feels. This was not a flaw. In a world without certainty, it was wisdom. The ones who waited too long for a distant, uncertain prize often did not survive to collect it. The ones who took the sure thing and lived became your ancestors. And they handed you the scale, still tilted, still humming under everything you do. It runs beneath your choices, quiet as breath, older than any word for time. It does not measure importance. It measures nearness. And nothing on this earth is nearer to you than comfort, right now. This is the first reason you wait. But there is a stranger one still. Think of the person who has to finish the task. It is not really you. It is you tomorrow. And to the old brain, tomorrow you is almost a stranger. You would not lend your whole strength to a face you have never met. For your ancestors, the self that mattered was the one breathing now. The distant version of you, a season away, was faint and unreal. So when the task is due next week, you are asking a stranger to carry it. And you gladly hand it over, because the stranger is not here to argue. The comfort is yours to keep. The cost belongs to someone who does not exist yet. It is a quiet, ancient bargain, and you strike it 100 times a day. But tomorrow always comes. And tomorrow, you are the stranger. The bill you signed in comfort falls due in a currency of dread. You inherit the sack you handed off, and it is heavier for the waiting. The old brain never planned for this. It never expected the future to arrive. For 100,000 years, the distances were short and the stakes were now. Nobody waited a month for a harvest. Nobody saved for a decade of winters. There was only the hunt, the meal, the fire, the sleep, and the next bright morning. The whole machine was built for a world that ended each night and began again at dawn. Now look at what actually freezes you. It is never the small, clear task. It is the large one, the vague one, the one with no clear first step. It has no edge to grip, no mouth to fear, no fruit to reach for. The old brain, a huge and shapeless task, is not a task at all. It is a fog with no teeth and no fruit. Nothing to fight and nothing to seize. So the ancient scanner does what it always did with the formless and far away. It sets it aside and turns to whatever is small and close and certain. A large task also carries a quieter threat, the threat of doing it badly. And the old brain treats the risk of a wound the same, whether to the body or the pride. To not begin is to not yet fail. Waiting feels, for a moment, like safety. An unopened door hides no failure. So you leave it closed and call it caution. So you retreat to the small and the sure and call it getting ready. You tidy. You plan. You circle the true thing without ever touching it. And the relief is real. But it is the relief of an animal that has fled, not one that has won. Meanwhile, the task waits and grows, and the shadow it casts grows with it. None of this is failure. It is an old survival tool pointed at the wrong world. Because the world it was built for is gone. The old world, What mattered was always near. Food, warmth, danger, kin. And what was far away, a whole season off, rarely mattered at all. But the modern world has quietly turned that upside down. The near and the far have traded places, and your old compass never learned. Now the things that matter most sit far away, out past the fog. The health you want is years of small mornings from here. The work that would change your life pays out in some far, uncertain season. These are the harvests, and your ancient scale can barely feel them. They are real and enormous and almost invisible to the part of you that decides. Meanwhile, the small comforts have never been so close or so easy to reach. Once, comfort had to be earned across a hard day. Now it waits, always, one step away. So the ancient rule, take the near and sure, still fires, faithfully, every hour. But now it steers you away from the harvest and toward the endless, easy fruit. This is the whole trap. Not weakness. A perfect instinct in a world it was never made for. You are not fighting laziness. You are fighting 100,000 years of good advice. You will not win that fight by force. But you do not have to. You can stop fighting the old brain and start speaking its language. The old brain cannot feel a far reward. So you bring the reward near. You shrink the great task down to one small stone you can lift right now. The old brain cannot lift a mountain, but it has never once refused a single stone. Not the mountain, only the first step onto it. That, the old brain can see. You make the beginning so small that refusing it feels absurd. And once you have begun, the task changes its shape entirely. Motion, once begun, is its own quiet reward. The body remembers how to continue. It stops being a fog. It becomes a thing with edges, a thing you are already inside of. The old brain will always chase the nearer reward. So let finishing be the reward. Tie the far harvest to a near warmth, and the scale begins, slowly, to tip. And speak kindly to the stranger. Tomorrow you is not your servant. It is you. Every small thing you begin today is a gift laid gently at that stranger's feet. You were never lazy. You were an animal built for a world that lived one day at a time. And the task, once begun, was never the mountain. It was only the first small stone. So the next time you cannot seem to begin, do not reach for shame. You are not failing. You are simply very old and very faithful to a vanished world. This channel studies the ancient animal you still are, one quiet instinct at a time. Subscribe, and I will see you over the next rise. And if you want to follow the science, the names are waiting below.